Alright, well, we'll see how this goes. Welcome to the Last Live COD Pod. I am your host, Rush. I'm here by myself today. Unfortunately, Lewis is ill and wasn't able to make it this week, so I'm solo pushing this. Um, but yeah, hopefully Lewis gets well soon, and he'll be back for next week for sure. I can guarantee that because no one's sitting out sick 2 weeks in a row. But I'll just get straight into it because I don't really have any intro, and I'm doing alright. I hope you're also doing alright. So go and leave a comment below, um, and tell us how you think about this podcast. Tell us how much you hate Lewis. No, I'm only joking. I absolutely love Lewis, and he will be here. So he's here in spirit. I got him below. Um, so yeah, not a lot happened actually this week in the Call of Duty. When I'm thinking of it, we had Elite. There was a couple of Elite drama, but when is there not drama in the EU circuit? EU's always got the worst people going, and they have always have drama for no other reason. But as far as the CDL went, everything went pretty normal, and how we thought was gonna happen. Um, so yeah, going into the first game, we had Falcons. They went and beat G2 in a game five. G2, really interesting team right now. They really just cannot win their game fives. They're getting so far, and they just keep on getting to this situation. Like if you see right here, they're like edging out. They're losing 2-1. They're losing 6-4 in the 2 and 3, and you can't see my cursor, so I don't know why I'm trying to do that. But if you look at map 1 and map 4, they're really slaying. Just going to the individual stats, like Kremp and Escheril were absolutely frying this first map. It's the same on map 4 as well. There just needs to be a lot more help from Skies or Mamba. Mamba helped out a bit in the map 4, but it feels like I'm just seeing a lot of the ARs really slipping for G2, and that's going to force them to go and have this 1 and 4 record. It's really frustrating to see if you're watching G2 because they're getting there, they're getting to the game 5, so they just cannot get a win to go and save their life. And you see right here, like this is the perfect example that Kremp and Estriel, mainly Kremp, but Estriel is a very good player, and I rate him very highly myself. They just can't get anything going to go and win a full series. So that was one of the first of two games. This is a new concept. It's a new concept, new scheduling. We have two games on the Friday rather than three. So there was only a second game at 9:30 local time for me. As it doesn't want to load. There we go. It loads up now. And we had Carolina Royal Ravens. They played their first game without Slasher. They went and brought in Exceed, and he played very well. He had a lot to go and say afterwards. But yeah, they played well. They went and beat Heretics, who Heretics took Miami went and took Toronto and Optic both to game five, so they're a decent side. And over the break, they would have gone and got better. Uh, Drake's, as you can see, still a negative KD across the entire series, but that was most of his team as well here. Exceed really looked like he was helping unlock the players a bit more. And that's one thing he said about in his interview. He was saying that they were being constrained to playing in one certain way and like kind of saying that it was Slasher's fault, the reason why they weren't doing so well. I mean, going off this, they were 0-2. They are now 2-2. Spoiler alert for their second game, but they won both their games, and Exceed looks like to be a catalyst to the reason of that. He looked very good. We'll go into the individual stats of the map. So yeah, even when they're winning, Trakes is still not performing. Um, and then yeah, Craze had a very good map too. Um, and yeah, it was just a team diff on map three, and then map four took over. Exceed was actually the only negative player for Royal Ravens at that point. But yeah, so that was the Friday games, and Ravens looked really good. And I'll go and talk a bit more about them in that other game because um, yeah, Saturday this is a game that I really wanted to go and talk about. FaZe Vegas went and 3-0'd Optic. This is probably the first big upset of the weekend. Well, not probably. It is the first big upset of the weekend. Ravens were coming in with a new player. They had a honeymoon period. Falcons, they probably should have won. And even if G2 did win, you would have just gone, yeah, but G2 keep on going to game five, but they just can't win. So if they went and won a game five, you would have been like, okay, well, I mean, they finally won it this time. But this here, I genuinely thought Optic were going to win this game, and they didn't even get out the blocks. They did not start this series, and FaZe ran away with it. As you can see, the entire Optic boys going negative, the entire FaZe boys going positive. This pickup of Aluka really went and set a fire under Draza, along with Shotzi going and talking his smack to him. Is he went and said on stream about how Draza is terrible, and then Draza comes out with a 1.3 KD right here and was firing on all cylinders, as the rest of the team were. But I feel like this was mainly on Draza, as he had Shotzi talking smack in scrims, and he had the it was going to be him if Luca goes and gets picked up. He's currently on his student visa still, and he is a sub, but it looked like it was Draza's back that he was coming for. So Draza had an amazing series there, and I'm really happy for him. And yeah, I think this is a great opportunity for Optic to go and take a loss here. I said they were going to lose eventually. I thought it was going to be at the major where this would happen, but this is like the big wake-up call that you aren't God and you aren't inevitable. You do need to actually go and carry on playing, and this is really good for Optic. Um, and I'm really interested to see how this goes for them for the rest of the major now, because that was a really good wake-up call. It's a big win for FaZe, and it doesn't really mean too much for if you're on Optic, but yeah, it was a wake-up call that was needed. As you said, 4-1, so I mean they've got 2 more weeks. It's not really like they're going to drop into losers bracket off this game. But here's the scores for all the games. Simp actually not having a great performance map one. Um, and then yeah, it was just a team diff the entire time. There was one positive KD from Dashi and a neutral from Merc, and then everyone went negative for Optic the entire time. Um, so that was the first game of Saturday. We're going on to the second game of Saturday. I don't really want to speed run this. It's just more I just want to get through this quicker. So I was on about Exceed and like it might be the honeymoon period for the Ravens, and exactly the same thing happened here. TJ Haley has gone and turned around this Seattle team to no one's business. They were down 2-0. They looked like they were done for, and it was like, okay, same old Surge. This is exactly what we expect. This is always what we get with Surge. They are just a terrible team, and it is a whole team. But they reverse swept Boston Breach the entire way to go and win 3-2 and win their first game. Finally, they were 0-3 at this point. They finally go and get their first win, and they actually look like they're going to be playing the game a bit. And you can only say that's just because the team might have more confidence in themselves playing with TJ Haley over Legend. They probably just feel more confident now. Um, I said, yeah, so the first two maps, it was not looking good for this Surge team. Like, as you can see here, absolutely popping off from Bruges. But then this map 3, you get a sneak win with a 3-2. And then this map 4 was just an absolute team diff. I think that map was like, okay, we can actually win this. We go to map 4, they go and destroy, and then you go to map 5 and they win 6-1. TJ Haley with a 9-3 performance to go and finish off the job. It was an amazing performance from Surge, and I'm really happy to see that for them, because I don't want to see bad teams just get absolutely pummeled all the time. I want to see all 12 teams as close as possible, where it's that anyone can beat anyone type league. You know what I mean? I would also really like it to go to 16 teams, but that's like a whole different story. But there, so Surge go and finally get their first win, and then so we had FaZe going upset Optic, and then we had Surge going upset Breach. So I really thought I was going into this Gentlemate C9 game like, oh my god, what is gonna happen here? Fortunately, Gentlemates just go and win. Gentlemates win, lol. They might actually be the best team in the world right now. Honestly, this was a Dango's team masterclass once again. Plus 27 right here. Jesus Christ, I didn't realize it was that high. So yeah, they go and win the first map. Very close series, by the way. Looking at these stats, if you could just if you just like look at the stats, lots of the highlight plays are all pink uh, for the Gentlemates players. But 250 to 249 to go and start off map one. Here's the scoreboard for it. Um, and yeah, it was a close game here. Um, the ARs ARs, the old Thieves boys popping off for Gentlemates in this one. And you go to map two, and Beans was looking insane. Here he is, 12 and 6. He was looking insane for map two. So proper very good performance, and he was putting out the sniper hitting clips. It was absolutely disgusting to go and watch from him. And then we go into the map three, and then they went 2-1 up in the series, and it was like, oh my god, well, we've seen two upsets today, so it's not going to be a shock if Cloud9 go and beat Gentlemates. Because Cloud9 have a bit of a decent team. Of course, Afro and Beans I've got a very close spot for. Um, you can never not love European players. As a European player, you have to go and back the boys. They're going all the way over there, going out of their comfort zone of their own country, and they have to go to live in America. It's so far away from all your families. I see why Legend had his stuff. But yeah, you gotta go and back the boys. And then map four, um, Gentlemates go and step up. Dan Ghosty with a 1.43 performance to go. On the SMG map, he's popping off. He's showing that he can just do it all, and it's really good to see from him. I believe this is where Envoy pulled out the Razor again, and it's really interesting to see that he's pulling out the Razor so much because it's just like I don't know if it is worth it. I suppose for a couple hills, yeah, because the NPC. I can't even remember what it was. Yeah, NPC got nerfed. The MSMC pretty much. It got GA'd, not nerfed. It got GA'd after Friday. It got used for a couple hills and it got GA'd. It was very interesting from the players. But yeah, so we go to map five, and then once again, Dan Ghosty 4.5 KD. He really goes and pops off in in the tail end of this series. He didn't want to lose, and he's looking like probably one of the best players in the world. I'll be honest with you. I think Dan Ghosty is one of the best players in the world right now. He is insane. He's playing like he's playing lights out and like he's got a chip on his shoulder, which I suppose he does with Thieves. They went and dropped him for someone like Kenny, and you're looking how Kenny's playing, and then you look at how Ghosty's playing, you're like, damn, you would have really loved to see him keep that, them to keep Dan Ghosty in this. It would have been really interesting. Hydra, Abizi, Scrap, and Dan Ghosty. That would have been an interesting team. That would have been a team looking at that, looking for a championship, but now Dan Ghosty's looking for a championship on another team. So, we go to Carolina versus G2 Minnesota, and as I said, like this is pretty much a tale of this weekend. G2 cannot win a game five, and Ravens have looked so much better as soon as they've got rid of Slasher, which is really sad to say because obviously Slasher's such a great player, but it's worked out. Exceed has done something. He's not performing, but I believe he said, and this isn't a direct quote, but it was along the lines that he unlocked the players, and you can see it right here. Like in this performance, this map one, they absolutely came out frying. Nero, Craze, and Lurks, and Exceed himself, all of them popping off 1.7, 1.4, 1.2, 2.4, 1.4. It was a great performance. And then, of course, G2 have to go and win their map, so they won 2 and 4. So there's the 2 and 4 stat lines. And Ravens looked very dominant in map three. And we go to map five, which means that G2 are going to lose because you go to map five and you don't win. And it's really interesting how this weekend has turned Ravens' entire season around, major around so far. They went from 0-2 to 2-2, and now they're looking to be contenders for upper bracket. It's a great performance. It's a great pickup. I did not think Exceed was going to do this well, so I really want to give him props because that was very good. And that started off the Sunday. Second game, Optic bounced back from their phase upset with a very dominant performance, telling Surge, we are here, and telling everyone that we're here. But then again, you can only take it with a pinch of salt because it is Surge at the end of the day. Um, so as you can see, the stat lines right here. Uh, Want to point out Mercury is 1.39 KD. So here we go. Map one, only person positive, TJ Haley. Of course he is. He always has his one against Optic. Um, Mercury's with a plus 20 performance looked absolutely insane. He must have taken that phase series personally. Map 2, Merc with a 4 KD. The rest of the boys also pop it off, but this really was the Merc series. And then map 3, they went and actually lost, which is I don't know quite what happened with my headset there. It just turned itself off. But yeah, TJ Haley always gets his one against Optic, so he did get his one. It wasn't a 3-0 from Optic. And then map 4 was absolute slaughter again. There was not really much from the Surge boys, so I don't really want to talk too much. Surge, they looked all right. They went 1-on-1 this weekend, so they did all right. TJ looks like a better pickup, of course. He was always going to be. He's a veteran of the league. He's a great player. You can't really go wrong with TJ Haley and your team. Um, so yeah, I would say that this was a pretty decent series, and it looks to be new things for Surge. They won a map that was winnable, um, and then they lost against a top two team like Optic. So I can't really say they had a bad weekend. And then we have our final match of this weekend: Toronto Koi versus 100 LA Thieves. Sorry, and normally I'll go and point out the best teams, the best players playing, but Kenny really looks like he is having a bad time. I'm going to just go up his stats right here quickly. He is one of the best players in the CDL era. He is one of the best players of all time. But right now, he needs um God to go and keep his spot in this team. He has not been performing to any standard that is good, and you're just watching it right now with this. Thieves got absolutely bodied by this Koi team. Koi went and took this seriously. Obviously, Joe Deceives versus his whole team, Scrap versus his whole team. They both go positive, but yeah, there was really something wrong here, and I think the pickup of Neom as a sub, um, in the opposite way for where draws has stepped up when Aluka has been brought in as a sub, Kenny stayed the same, and it might need to be a change. We might need to have a situation here. It is not very good. Um, yeah, not even close to positive. 0.65, 0.57, 0.69 across the entire series to average out to a 0.66 minus 21. It is not looking nice for them, and if they keep Kenny, which this is being recorded on the Friday, so if it looks like they're going to be keeping him until the end of the major, which is an interesting choice. I suppose it worked during the Vanguard era, but I don't know if that is the right choice in this situation. So yeah, it's not looking good for Thieves, and it's so weird how Ravens 2-2 looks so different to Thieves 2-2 because Thieves look like they're going to lose every single game they're playing right now, um, unless Hydra and Scrap can absolutely scrape everything out. And Ravens have just gone from 0-2 to 2-2, where the Thieves have gone from 2-0 to 0-2. Um, and they were top of the league by the end of the first week, just to quickly point out. But yeah, so we'll go to this week's pick'ems. Um, it is all up on the screen. Once again, two games are going to start off the first day. I have 5 hours to go and predict this one. So, um, I see. I get authority because there's no Lewis here. Well, he is here. He's here. You can see him below. He's just not talking. For some reason, he's just stayed doing that. So I'm gonna go and give an upset here of Surge beating Heretics. I think Heretics are a really good team, but I really am interested to see how TJ Haley plays now that he's got even more time with the team. I have Gentlemates going to win 3-1 against Falcons. Falcons very good, but Gentlemates are a lot better. Um, I think I might have Heretics losing two game fives this week, and I feel bad for that, but I feel like that's just how it's gonna go. Ravens, I think they've had a good week, but Koi are at a different level. I think it'll be 3-1. FaZe, I think this is a big win for them, big week for them. So they're gonna go and beat Cloud9, and they're gonna um go on a bit of a run now after after beating Optic. Uh, we have Breach versus Cloud9. I think I edged. Yeah, I'm gonna edge Breach. Why? I think there's going to be a Snoopy and Cammy masterclass that's just going to be just enough. Although with it being going to S&D, I feel like I could see Beans go and pop off. G2 will finally not have a game 5. They'll get 3-0'd by FaZe, in my opinion. And then Optic are 3-0 in the Thieves if they go and stay the same. I'll be honest with you, that looks right to me. So I'm going to save that. I said we have one more week. Sorry, we only have one more week of games after today. After today, we've got one more week of games, as you can see right there. But I hope you enjoy. It was a bit of a weird one being a solo. I've just spoken for way too long, so I really hope you enjoy. And yeah, if you enjoy, go and like, comment, subscribe, and Lewis will be back next week. So don't worry, he's not going. It was just for one episode. God bless.